Parkour is a discipline which is slowly gaining popularity and becoming more and more well known all around the world. But what exactly is parkour?
Parkour is basically a physical and philosophical discipline, and the main objective of it really is to be able to train to a stage where you can ultimately navigate quickly and efficiently through an environment. And the way that we usually do that is through training the movements on their own. So, you know, you'll probably see in this video that you'll see people drilling the same movement repeatedly, and that can be anything from a simple jump on level ground at its most basic, to possibly vaulting and clearing various obstacles. So all these movements come together over a period of time, so that ultimately the objective is to be able to move very fluently and quickly through any kind of environment. Parkour concerns itself only with moving fluently and efficiently and in a practical manner through an environment. Another very important aspect, which is quite often overlooked, is the actual conditioning. And by conditioning we mean a series of various different repeated movements and exercises which are geared around strengthening muscles, becoming more competent at a particular movement, and ultimately building up strength and endurance and also speed, so that again parkour itself becomes easy, something which initially starts off very difficult.
Now let's find out about how parkour came to be. David Bell is the man who made parkour what it is today. He was born on the 29th of April 1973 in Fécamp, France. During his childhood, he always had a passion for action and movement. He excelled in athletics and gymnastics. In his teenage years, David became close friends with a group who also had a passion for movement and freedom, much like he did. Later on in life, they formed what was to become a famous parkour group called the Yamakasi. The founders of this group were Jan Hanarcha, Ciao Bell, David Bell, Laurent Pierre Montissi, Sébastien Foucan, Gaëlian Nguba Boyeki, Charles Perrier, Malik Diouf, and Williams Bell. People who do parkour are sometimes referred to as traceurs. Now this phrase was actually invented during one of David Bell's filming productions. He was being referred to by a number of nicknames such as Speed Airman, Catman, La Relève and La Traceur, and the word traceur has been used ever since.
So parkour has existed probably for around 20 years now, and you can trace it back to a small suburb of Paris called Nice, where a group of practitioners, two key members of which were David Bell and Sébastien Foucan, started practicing it very early on when they were kids basically, and at the time it was fairly it was not entirely serious, you know, they were jumping around the environment, grabbing hold of walls, trying to get from one spot to the next. But over a period of a couple of years, it did progress into what we now know as parkour.
Really useful in an environment because you just look at the environment in a different way. So even in a crowded place, you just keep people differently and you use rails, steps and everything around as a place where you can jump or help yourself.
When it comes down to conditioning and training, I prefer to train outside because it costs nothing to do, and then I can adapt the style of training depending on what's close by, if there's any walls or rails and things.
Actually, members of the public get confused between the difference between parkour and free running. So generally people either don't know that there is a difference or just think that what we are doing is free running. Free running is a more stylized version of parkour. Some of the movements are similar or identical, but it also incorporates more stylized stuff like backflips, whereas parkour is a more practical discipline where you're just concerned with getting through an environment quickly and efficiently.
Overall, parkour is a great activity which anyone and everyone can enjoy. It's also a great source of fitness. It can be done in a wide range of environments outside, and it really helps to build self-confidence. Another great thing about parkour is that it's an entirely non-competitive discipline, and when doing parkour, it's just you and the obstacle, so any success you achieve is entirely down to you. Parkour never gets old because there are always new movements to learn which adds more fun to the activity. Parkour is about preparing yourself for the challenges in life.